So good morning and welcome to day 2 of the Captain's blog, and apologies that the voice isn't really working so well this morning, but it's very early as you can see here. In fact, the camera's making it about 3 times as light as it really is with the human eye. It's 5:45 in the morning, and I'm just waiting for sunrise properly to come. You can just see over there, that's where it's going to pop up, and the tide is already running out. I don't think you can pick that up, but it's already low water at Great Yarmouth, technically. Slack water is at 6:23. So we're going to be heading off here as soon as it's light enough, and to get passage across Breydon water. It wouldn't be as important if this was a lower boat or a boat with a sliding canopy, but I am very aware of the bridge heights, especially Vauxhall Bridge at Great Yarmouth. This boat 8'10" on the plaque, the air draft, but it has been a surprisingly nice mooring here. As you can see, once the traffic in the evening dies down on the A47, it's not too noisy. It will obviously start building up as the day goes on, because today's Easter Sunday, the 5th of April, so it's not going to be the usual sort of weekday rush hour. Just stepping out on to the rear of the boat. It's nice to have boats where you can just walk out into the outside. You can hear all the bird song, although what you probably hear is the heater running. So I don't know really how I'm sounding, how I'm looking. I don't really know what's wrong with me. I've got a bad back. And the reason why I've got a bad back, this is the blog of moan, the blog of illness, of rascal. Now I have a bad back because of a cough, believe it or not. I developed this terrible cough, really chesty cough. This was when I was in hospital, by the way, and they did a chest x-ray, and it wasn't a chest infection, it was in the throat. And then I lost my voice. Because I'd been coughing so much and I wasn't sleeping properly because of it and all the rest of it. And then one morning I got up and I was walking and I stopped and coughed and my back just went ugh, and I just felt it go, and I thought, oh, that's buggered me back. And sure enough, that was about 2 weeks ago now, and the cough's almost gone, but it's been replaced with what I can best describe as quite, not a sore throat, but just like you've got something in the back of your throat all the time. So so the bad back's still there, because that's just, I don't know what I've done with that. Ibuprofen does work, but I don't want to take too much of that, so I'm sort of limiting myself to a couple of ibuprofens when it's like end of day and it's really but in the morning it's not too bad. I can walk and get on and off the boat okay, but it's just that lower back pain, you know what I mean? So yes, and I've had this sort of sniffles going on. It's like I've had 2 big infections, and I've got over the one that led me to hospital, which was also something, you know, in my gut, not salmonella or E. coli, but you know, something along those lines of so I'm not firing on all cylinders, and it's a real shame, because it's a bit like I can enjoy myself on the Norfolk Broads, but it's this kind of putting the cameras up and remembering to film and talking to the camera. You know, I'm like, if you watch my blogs, I can go on and on and on and talk and talk and talk, but it's a bit harder when your throat's a bit So I'm just warning you, you know, if I'm not up to scratch, it's not the first time I've come on Norfolk Broads when I've not been 100%. You know why? So anyway, I'm also trying to get to grips with this camera. Some of the times I think I'm not really in frame. It's got a pop-up screen. If you want to look this camera up, it's the Sony A5000 is the camera I'm using at the present time, and it's just completely different to the old blog cam. It's heavier, it's bigger, the lens is different, so it's taking some getting used to, but I want to persevere, because I think it is better quality. I mean, I know it's hunting for focus at the present time, but what you've got to appreciate, this looks like it's like, well, it's light enough, off you go. But trust me, all the street lights are still on. It is not as light as this camera is making it out to be. So as you can see, the sun is still coming up there. So that's what's happening. Sheila's still in bed. I've been up since 5. Had a little bit of an issue overnight, but I'm not going to make a big deal about it at the present time. But basically, we're at Stracey Arms, and we took the boat over at Wroxham. So from Wroxham to here, it's quite a long run, and we got here, I don't know, it wasn't that late. I can't remember from yesterday's, but let's just say 7. But it wasn't. I think it was before 7. But let's say 7 o'clock. Anyway, what I do know is that we didn't put the heating on till about 7:45 time, and I was doing dinner, which was spaghetti bolognese, which was actually quite yummy. Did that quite well last night. And we had dinner, and we were just listening to the radio, and the heater just went off, and the light flashed on the dial you turn. Now, how many times that flashes denotes what's happened. Something wrong with the heater, low power, whatever. I think it's low power because when I then looked at the volt gauge, it was under 12 volts. So then I started the engine, started the heater, and then it worked. And it carried on working actually. But I just think there might be something with the batteries, but I'm not going to make a deal of it at the moment. I'm going to see what happens tonight after we've gone all the way down to the Southern Broads, and then if it still does it, then I'll give good old Barnes Brinkcraft a call from somewhere more convenient, like next to a road in Norwich, for example. But yeah, other than that, I really like the boat. It's high, but it's good because you get to have a lot of view over the reeds. It's really easy to steer and manoeuvre. It's got a bow thruster. It's very quiet inside. I don't know how that picks up on the camera, but when you're going along, the engine is just like a whisper. It's not even insulated. The engine bay is just a really smooth, quite old. It's done like 13,000 hours, but it's a big lump. It's a big old nanny engine. I think about 40 or so horsepower, maybe more. But maybe I shouldn't be moving around. Maybe it's hunting for focus. Maybe I'm not in frame. But anyway, I'm just, having a ramble with you. But this is a Princess 30 sort of hull and superstructure. So it's a sea-going boat. It's got a planing hull, but it grips the water well. When you go to turn it, it's like you're turning now. So it's brilliant to handle. What else? I prefer Belmore, just the Belmore, not the TC with the extra dinette, because like at night time, like last night, you have to get the table out and fold it up, whereas with normal Belmore, you've already got your dinette made up, the table's just there, so you just sit down, and then you've had your food, and then you go upstairs to your other seating area to say watch TV. But this would be more suited for it'd be great for like mum, dad and a kid, because kid's got his own little cabin, mum and dad's got the front cabin, they can make that up as double berth like we have. So this is like more the family boat, and Regal Star and Belmore is more the couple's boat, I suppose. Anyway, that's my sort of first impressions. I'm going to get something to drink and I hope that the voice will warm up. Usually the further we go through the day, the voice will get a bit better and I'll sound a bit more me. But we've got a long day ahead of us. If we get under those bridges at Yarmouth, we are going all the way, we're going all the way to Surlingham Ferry, which is where we're going to go and eat tonight. That's my plan. It might change, might turn left after Breydon Water and go to Norfolk Broads. But Sheila's never been across Breydon Water, so she's keen to see what that's like. It's a really calm day, so we're not going to get any sort of splishy splashy going on, which is a shame, but it's an adventure, it's something new for her, and I like the Southern Broads. I used to just stick to the Northern Broads. Now I feel every trip got to have a bit of south, a bit of north. Oh, and also someone said to me in a comment or something about changing my wardrobe. I bought some new tops. I don't like buying clothes, people. To be honest with you, I can spend hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds hiring boats and buying cameras, and I have no problem with that at all. If I go to buy clothes, I think, well, this and this and this, it's got nothing wrong with it, it looks okay, and now I have to go and spend more money on clothes. So I'm not really a sort of fashion, you know, if it's alright, it's got no holes in it, it's not faded, and it still looks presentable, then why do I need to go and buy something else? But I've been told, change the wardrobe, so I've changed the wardrobe. And also Sheila got involved and sort of said, you got to change it. So I've got some new jumpers, which has been a bit difficult because weather forecasts for this week have been anything from like bloody cold and rainy to quite mild. Like last night, for example, was supposed to be really, really cold, according to my phone app, and it wasn't really cold. The boat is bone dry. There's no dew or moisture. There's no mist. So I'm going on quite a bit with my bad throat. I said that, and let's just get on with the day more as it happens, shall we? Enough talk about clothes. This is turning into like oh. But it will. I'm sorry, madam, but it will. It'll turn into a beauty blog, and we'll have like Zoella, and I'll be writing a book about how to put makeup on and what tops match the reeds in the winter on the Norfolk Broads, and what you should do for your summer collection for when you're sunbathing on the Norfolk Broads. Now, this is the captain's blog. We're keeping it real. So as you can see, it is now light enough to cruise. It's officially now sunrise. It was interesting reading on various websites. You've got various different types of twilight: civil twilight, nautical twilight, astronomical, people that watch the stars and planets twilight. And we're officially at sunrise at the present time. You can't see it on the camera, but in front of me is a big ball of orange fire, and we've just left here. As you can see, we're just passing the last of the moorings of the Stracey Arms. We're doing 4 miles an hour in tick over, so we've still got a ebbing tide, and slight water at Yarmouth is 623 predicted. So low water was 5:23 in the morning, when obviously it was still dark. Slack waters in the next 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm gonna crank her up to 6 miles an hour. Now we're on to open water, and we should hopefully get to Yarmouth before the clearances, before the tide turns and anything happen. I know I keep banging on about the bridge clearances, but it wasn't that long ago, a few weeks ago, that Brinks Prelude come a cropper at Vauxhall Bridge and got stuck, and it's imperative that you realise what's going on, especially at Yarmouth, because of the currents you're going to be facing. There's plenty of warning before you get to the bridges of what the height is under the bridges in either direction, but more so probably going towards the Burney Arms rather than coming from the Southern Broads. So we're just a little way further down the Bure than we were when I last spoke to you. You can see the tide line along the reeds, that black sort of line, and that's the difference between high and low water, if you like. As you can see, we're currently now doing 6 miles an hour, and we've been running for 4 minutes, which doesn't seem that correct, but anyway. But yes, I'm having to particularly also take care sticking to the centre of the river where possible, especially on these bends, because they can be quite shallow, especially like on the inside of a bend, and the lower down the Bure you get more towards Yarmouth, the more that has to be taken sort of into account. So just a little tip there, when you're coming down here and you're on a falling tide, unless something else is coming along, it's preferred to stick to the centre of the river, where you will find the deepest water. There's been a few instances where pictures have been taken and posted where boats have run aground, not super close to the reeds either, you know. In fact, when I was coming down on Brinks last year, God, does it seem that possible? July 2014, when we were coming down here in the rain, and there was a boat that had gone the wrong side of some posts on the lower Bure and run aground, and another boat was trying to free them and couldn't. Very rarely is it dangerous. What can happen sometimes is the boat will then list to port or starboard and not refloat level when the tide comes in, thus any vents along the hull, particularly on low-sided sort of forward steer boats, will then flood with water before the boat refloats. That can happen, but otherwise it's just a general inconvenience, because you have to wait an awful lot of time, and many hours, before the tide turns and comes back in. And that might of course happen who knows when, you know. You can of course look it up with the tide times, but you may be unlucky and find, yeah, well great, high tide's at like 11:30 at night. So it's advisable to try not to have that happen in the first place. I don't know how this microphone picks up stuff on this camera, if I just stop talking for a moment. Just be curious how it's picking up the engine noise. We're doing almost 2000 RPM, but I find it a very quiet engine. So I just thought I'd give you an update on our current position. We are about 6 Mile House drainage mill on the map. So we're roughly, looking at the map, I suppose it's getting on for halfway between the Stracey Arms, where we moored overnight and left this morning, and Great Yarmouth yacht station. The tide's really slowed down now, going out. I don't actually think it's really going out. I've had to put a little bit more revs on, just about 50, just to maintain our speed. And I slowed down, and there was a clump of reed sort of floating, and it wasn't moving very much in the direction of travel. So that's all good. That's all sort of matching up with predictions of, you know, slack quarter at Yarmouth being around 6:23. Well, time now is 10 to 7. So I'm feeling confident. I think I'm worrying a little bit too much, as I often do, because I don't believe that in the next sort of, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes, the tide's going to have switched round and rushed in, and we're going to come to Yarmouth with 7-foot clearance under the bridge. I hope not, anyway. Sheila's having a shower. It's always good to do the showers on the move. This shower, however, is more for Sheila type people, i.e. petite. I tried it last night, and it's an interesting experience. It also has the world's sort of slowest emptying shower pump. You know what those shower pumps are? I don't know. They were just so noisy, especially when the water doesn't, you know, it's like, oh God. There's a particular type of pump. So anyway, I'm just happy to be on Norfolk Broads. It feels forever since I haven't been here. It hasn't really been that long. It was October half term. I was here with my mum, and then previous to that was Brinks Royale in July, I believe. Oh, then there was Lads Week at the beginning of October, and then there was at the end of December a weekend that I spent up on Broad Ambition, but that's not, doesn't really count so much because it's not like a hired boat. So as far as me coming away properly, this is the first one. A bit later in the season, usually I like to get away, have a short break or a week in March at the beginning of the season, and then maybe, like last year for example, I was on Omega for a week in the beginning of March, and then over Easter, because with my dad we hired from Freedom Cruises in Thorpe. So although it's just one boat this sort of current time, it is how can we say, the same amount of time, because I'm having this boat for a longer period of time. Other than that, there's not much more to say or to see really at the present time, so I'll update you when we get to Yarmouth. Okay, so here we are, we're just entering where the yacht station is in Great Yarmouth. We've got our first bridge marker. We've got just over 9 foot. We need 8'10". It is going to be close, but we have made it in time, and we will be going under the bridges. I'm trusting that this boat's plaque is correct, and we need 8'10". Confirm, Sheila, that says 9 foot?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Just put the binoculars there. There will be another height marker further down here, of course. But the station's looking relatively busy. Just seen a flybridge style boat proceeding. We've just passed one boat coming the other way, again a flybridge style boat out of Herbert Woods. Just taking a few revs off as we pass the more boats here on our left hand side. Sorry about some of the misting on the window there. There's not a lot I can do about that at the present time, but I hope you get, and just move the camera slightly. Julie, are you nervous?
No.
She's not nervous. Is
Why would
Premier
I
in?
be nervous?
Well, why would you be nervous? Well, exactly.
I'm just nosy. What's going on? Oh look!
Premier in.
If you want to have a comfy bed, you can go there.
Yeah, moor the boat up at the yacht station. Put yourself into the Premier Inn. Yeah, just looking up the repeater height marker. It's looking like it is bang on 9 foot. Okay, so now there's less than 9 foot showing on here. The boat in front of us has realised they ain't going to get under Vauxhall with all their screens up, I think. Here we go for bridge number 1 then, bridge number 1. Robin is nervous. Even though we've got enough room. Okay. Jeez. Okay, Vauxhall Bridge, tighter fit, apparently more than 9 foot. 9 foot 3. I'm taking this dead slow. That boat in front of us has significantly more clearance than we have. Well, blog, this is as nervous as I've been with the bridge. They've got bags of room. I wish you'd just move, thank you. There's a nervous rascal behind you. How much space?
It's like this.
Okay, Sheila's just come back and how much space, and she's used her
3
finger.
minutes, 3.
About 3 inches. Oh my god, well we're out of danger now. I think the boat behind us.
It's lower.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're much lower than us, yeah.
I can even stick out my head there.
Well,
It's pretty safe.
okay, that's good.
I try and touch the boot and it's like I had to do this to touch it.
Okay.
Stretch my arm really, really hard. So this is it.
This is Breydon water. I'm now, my blood pressure is lowering, my heart rate is lowering.
What is that?
Brinks Lullaby 1 needs to put his throttle down a bit and turn right at yellow post. So yes, that was pretty nerve-wracking for me, I've got to say. The height plaque on the boat says 8'10". The height under the bridges was 9, but these London Bridge, there is a degree of give between what it says on the height marker and exactly what's under the bridge, but I don't want to do anything like that down here. St Olave's, Vauxhall and the road bridge that goes over just before you get to Vauxhall Bridge. I think they're pretty bang on, the height markers. So, but we're through. And now we're going to be heading over Breydon Water. So we're turning right at the yellow post. And then if all else fails and we get to Reedham and we can't get under Reedham Bridge, it's not a problem. I will call up and they can swing the bridge for us, as long as there's no trains coming. So here we are on a quite grey Breydon Water, and here is Sheila filming across Breydon, doing a very good job, staying within the posts. And I'm just going to quickly take you outside, because this is quite spectacular. Now that is a pretty damn good straight course that she's steering. Let's not worry about our fuel burn at the present time. As you can see, it is calm. The tide is going with us now, so when we were coming down the River Bure and we were going against it, that same tide that's going up the Bure is also coming this way towards Reedham, is helping us along. We're doing 9.5 miles an hour. And this boat just sounds good. It sounds like a boat. I don't know if the camera mics are picking this up, but this brings a smile to my face. This is why it's much better to have a boat than a bathtub. And even though it's a grey day here, it's a nice day. It's very calm. There's hardly any wind, as you can see with the calmness of the water. And it is just nice to be back on the Norfolk Broads, back going over Breydon. Oh God, wasn't I nervous with the bridges. As I said, how much space did we have? Sheila was standing out here, peering above the top of the boat here. She came in, she goes, oh, about that much. So, but we did it. And because when I go back again the other way, I'm not going to have Sheila with me, I'm going to be on my own, but I can then plan the passage properly so I can be bang on slack water and we have the maximum height. So I know if it's 9 foot, we're good. It's close, but we're good. This is a real pleasure for me as well, that Sheila's driving the boat, giving me the opportunity to just come out and enjoy, instead of just sat at the steering wheel. this is close as you're going to get to being at sea with brackish water and a wide open space. How's it feeling?
Well, not too bad.
Not too bad.
Yeah, I've got more space though compared to the little river down there.
The little river, yeah.
How many little did I say? 2, right?
Well, I think you're doing very well.
Thank you. Yeah, I like it like this. It's more speedy
Yeah.
and slowly turtle.
So you're going to give me a contribution for the fuel?
I'll think about that. I'll ask my, my little pot of money.
Well, the time now is just coming up to 5 minutes to 8 o'clock, and this camera doesn't really like to focus as quickly as the old blog camera. Does it? No, yes, maybe it will. Come on, camera. Focus, god damn it, you can do it. No, you can't. Well, it's 5 to 8. So we're going to go to Reedham,
Right.
and hopefully there's going to be space tomorrow at Reedham. And then
there's nothing.
well, then we don't stop at Reedham.
Where do we go then?
And we carry on going
To where?
a long way.
Oh God.
But if there is space at Reedham, we stop at Reedham and we fill our water tank.
Did we at least have a cup of coffee, please?
We can have a cup of coffee and we can have breakfast. And I might give Barnes Brinkcraft a call. Although I don't know, it's Easter Sunday, it's a bit mean, but then it's Bank Holiday Monday tomorrow, so I'm just bothered about mooring near other boats and then having to run the engine to get the heater to work and then disturbing other boats, that's all. So, yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Nothing.
Okay, so we're going to turn round in a moment's time. There's space there as well.
And there's an electric thingy there.
There is the electric thingy there as well, yeah. It is between 2 rather nice private crafts, so I'm always a little bit nervous when I come to moor in such circumstances. But I'm just proceeding further down to turn because there is a boat behind us that doesn't seem to know if he can moor or not, so bear with us. Okay, he's decided he can't moor, he can't fit in, so I'm going to proceed to do our turn here.
He's going fast.
Yeah, okay, don't worry. Now straight into and against the current.
Would you like me to take the bow line or the...
Yes, the bow will want to swing out, so the first rep you want to get is the bow line. Okay, so if you go get that and be my bow lady.
I'm always your bow lady. Oh dear. Honey, if you can open your window so I can hear it.
Yep. Okay, hold on, honey. Don't go any further. Don't go any further, you're fine there. Well, your arse is on the camera, so you come back a bit.
That is not nice to say. Are we going there?
No, we're not.
No, we're not.
No. You want us there? Yeah, the other one, okay. Sorry? I was going to go just in front of that, but yeah. Alright. Yeah. But we're just having a really nice time. It's getting warmer, and it's nice to be back in Reedham. I like the place. The Lord Nelson, the pub closed and apparently is going to be reopening. I've been following sort of progress on various forums talking about this and who the sort of group's going to be and all sorts of stuff, but I'm not 100% sure what the situation is. I might go and check out a bit later and see if there's any sort of sign of life or notices, etc. So it's now 25 minutes past 1 and you join us underway here just past the Reedham chain ferry, which Sheila took us through very well indeed and conveniently had passed over and docked waiting for its return trip with 2 cars. So the engineer came and indeed there was a slight problem. One of the batteries had a dead cell, which meant that it was basically sucking in power from the charging, obviously the alternator, and then when it wasn't sucking in extra power from that, it was drawing in continuously the other batteries attached in series, bringing them down. So it wasn't just me thinking things were a little bit amiss. So replacement battery, and we're back up and running again. So as I said, it's about 25 minutes past 1 at the moment, so we've got a good 6 hours of cruising before we have to think about, you know, mooring up due to loss of light. So I think we're going to carry on to where I originally wanted to go to, and if it's full up, then we can double back, and we've got plenty of options to think about, and if all else fails, then we'll just have to motorway on somewhere like Bargate Broad, but there's a heap of places that we can go to and come back from before it gets dark, basically. But it actually has become a very nice day. It's not, I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's certainly not chilly anymore. It's very mild, the sun's broken through the clouds, and as you can see, the Rivers are very calm at the moment. The last of the flood tide has passed, so we're at, I suppose, what you would call slack high water. It's neither coming in nor going out at the present time. And that's basically, that's an interesting boat there, isn't it? Just got distracted. So yeah, basically that's what the situation is at the present time. So I'm going to put the camera down and take over from my second in command. And we're just, well, you can see, I don't know if you can see, we're in a 6 mile an hour limit and we're doing naught. What's happened? Why are we doing naught? Oh no! We've gone through a, oh, 1, 2, here we are, 3, naught. And we're just going through a space-time continuum at the present time, otherwise known as not sufficient GPS signal. But we should be doing about 4 miles an hour, 5, and there we are. So we're not doing the speed limit. And we're just taking things nice and easy at the present time. So just an update for you, we have just passed Hardley Dyke, and next up of sort of a known point of reference will be the Cantley Sugar Factory. So that's going to be a sweeping bend to the left and right, and then next, because will be Langley Dyke. Just looking at the map here, so that's where we just passed by there. We'll go around here, that's the Cantley Sugar Factory, and then that's Langley Dyke down there, and we're going to be heading off up here to Brundle, well, just there around the corner from that, at the Ferry House. And as I say, there's plenty of time to double back and, you know, head back down to these different places, looking for a mooring, so I'm not too bothered about, you know, being stuck with falling light tonight with somewhere to look for to moor. Let's just turn that down. Just always good to have the radio, being a bit nosy, listening in on what's going on. I'm still coming to terms with this camera. I think the screen on the back, I think, oh, is it underexposed, is it overexposed, and I think some of it's to do with the screen. Outside is the trusty old blog camera. But I'm sticking with this new camera. I can't actually hold it out at arm's length, just holding the camera body, it's too heavy. I have to use like a little kind of grip thing that screws into the tripod socket. But it has got some interesting features. I've got some lens filters, polarizing one, but we haven't got sort of the weather for that. If it was a deep blue sky, you could do some stuff with that. The focus, or the zoom, is automatically, but it's 18 to 50 is the zoom, which is right there, so that's like maximum zoomed in. It has got steady shot, but it's not quite the same as the old blog camera. It's not as steady. The other one was far better at keeping a steady shot, but if we zoom out there, I suppose, you know, I'm just handhold this at the present time, so it's reasonably steady, but it doesn't take much to make the image, you know, go a bit wobbly. But if you don't experiment, then you don't know. It takes wonderful actual still photos. So it's a learning curve. You're learning along with me. Feeling a little bit tired at the present time, and that's because I was up at 5 o'clock this morning, and pretty much since we've either been motoring or waiting, or so it's not been a very relaxing sort of a day. And of course now we're motoring again, so I'll certainly be looking forward to sleeping this evening, that's for sure. But yes, I think also it changes my feelings, because when you're on your own, you pick up the camera and you can stop and you can go and reposition this and mess around with that. But when you've got company, you don't really want to be doing too much faffing around, because then of course it annoys them. So I'm not using the blog as I usually would, because I'm talking to Sheila, and then I think, oh, I better just do a bit to camera update you guys where we are. But it's a really pleasant day. We're having a nice little cruise along. Just show you the modern technology age has come down to this boat. As you can see, she drives a Mac. I'm a PC boy. But we've got our onboard Wi-Fi going, courtesy of EE. I haven't actually used my dongle yet, so but EE has been very good. We've got 4G data speeds at points. Wasn't so good through Horning, but then what is? But I will show you the dongle later on. I'll try and remember to show you that, and you know, the signal strength and so on and so forth. But it is doing very well. It's providing us with Wi-Fi. Even this camera, can you believe, has got Wi-Fi to be able to download applications to it. Like, say you want to have a time-lapse app, then you can download that. I think it's about $6.99, and then you suddenly enable time-lapse, or you know, all sorts of things. Or you want to upload your pictures, it has an onboard Wi-Fi. So just an update, guys, what we're doing, where we are. The time is almost 2:45 in the afternoon. We're just passed on the left hand side the dike that leads to Rockland Broad, but we're persevering on through Brundall, and then we'll be hoping for a mooring at the Surlingham ferry. My second in command, however, has flaked out, couldn't take it anymore, and has gone to bed. So it's just me, persevering on, being strong, despite also being the one that had to be awake at 5 this morning, get ready, and then wait for sunrise to cast off. Got to build them tough when you come on the Norfolk Broads. And also, Fox's Crunch Creams help. They're the kind of, if Pringles of the crisp world are once you pop you can't stop, well, Fox's Crunch Creams of the biscuit world is once you open and have one you can't stop, especially if you've got a coffee as well. So just an update for you, we're just approaching Coldham Hall, and second in command has emerged, and so it won't be long before we're at Surlingham, and we'll see if the pub's got any spaces. If not, it's just 3:05, so not a problem. There's even the Coldham Hall, they do fine food. So we'll just see, you know, what's available. But if there is space, then that's the end of the day as far as the day goes. It doesn't seem very long to sort of be mooring up for the night just after 3 o'clock, but when you've started your day at 5, makes sense. Brundall's a strange place because there's so much boaty stuff going on, but yet so little for the visitor, like say me or you if you're on a boat, to stop by or, you know, go and do. It's all sort of marinas and houses and private moorings and so on and so forth. So, but very pretty though. So I'll update you in a bit, but just to let you know, we're just passing through Brundall. So as you can see, we made it to the Surlingham ferry, and I'm surprised how few boats there are. This is Easter Sunday, and I know that on the northern rivers before we came down it was chock-a-block with boats, from double mooring at Horning Ferry and the Horning Parish stave outside the Swan Hotel. That was all chock-a-block. St Bennet's was almost full, and yet as you can see here there's plenty of space. There's one hire craft other than us on these moorings here, the rest are all private. There is a Brinks Sonnet class boat over there, but it's just a really pretty, secluded, nice place. So we've booked our table for this evening's meal, and you can actually reserve a mooring here if you want to, and some of the moorings As you can see, you can have electric if you've got an extension cable to reach all the way over. They're improving the moorings. As you can see, they're bringing some of the electric posts just a little bit nearer to the moorings. And also you've got over there water as well. And all these little picnic tables here as well, which is really nice. So lovely hot day, you could come out, have a few pints right next to your boat and sit down, enjoy the river and the peace here. It really is a lovely place. So that sums up day 2 of the captain's blog. Tomorrow we're going to be heading into Norwich and we'll see. I've got to look at what the tides are doing, mainly because of Trowse Railway Bridge and the height of this boat, and it would be preferable to go when the water is out, the tide is out at Norwich, so we get maximum clearance. But that might not time with our plan, so we might not be able to get into Norwich. Also, the other point is there's awful engineering works going on, so we might not be able to do what I wanted to do, which was get a train from Norwich to Great Yarmouth and spend the day at the seaside. But there are other ways to get to Great Yarmouth, of course. Or we might have a complete change of plan and not go to Norwich, so who knows. I'll look at the map, I'll figure that out later. I'll talk to Sheila, and we'll figure out. Tomorrow evening she's got to go back, but I think her train's not until 5:30, 7:30. Got to figure that one out as well. There's quite a difference between 5:30 and 7:30. But anyway, from here, day 2, long day, tiring day, up at 5, but we've come to a really lovely place, the Ferry House here, and really recommend you come here if you're on the southern rivers, whatever the time of year, whether it's chilly or summer. Sonia and her team really welcoming, lovely atmosphere, great food. So until tomorrow, more as it happens.